I think carnivore sourdough bread would be the holy grail of low carb, keto, and carnivore type recipes. I have no idea if I can do it, but I've got all my stuff. We're gonna experiment and we're gonna try to do carnivore sourdough on Chris Cookin' Nashville. So I'm really happy with my carnivore bread recipes. I've done so many different kinds. I'll link some of them in the description box for you, but the one that is always requested is, can you do carnivore sourdough style bread? So we're gonna give it a shot. Now, for those of you who don't know, back before I knew even what keto and carnivore were, I actually owned a sourdough micro bakery and I used to eat sourdough regularly. So if I can get even anywhere close to the quality of sourdough bread I used to make by hand, I'm gonna be really happy if I can even bring up that memory. I'm gonna do the very best I can. I have not tried this recipe. We're going to try it for you. It may be a total flop. It might change the internet. Who knows? You're gonna have to stick around to find out. So let's go ahead and get into it. This is very similar to my regular carnivore bread recipe, which is linked in the description box. However, we're going to do a few things to make this taste and act a lot more like that chewy, tangy, beautiful sourdough, which is, in my opinion at least, the epitome of all of the bread recipes out there. I don't like the carbs of it, but I do love the flavor, so I'm gonna see if I can do this. I have eggs that have been separated just like my normal carnivore bread recipe, but we are not going to whip the whites just yet because we have to do something else first. So unlike my other recipes, we're going to mix up the fatty mixture first, and it's going to sit for about 45 minutes before we mix it all together, and it's gonna let it age, and hopefully that's gonna help us with a little bit more of that fermented flavor. Plus I have a few additional ingredients. Let me show you what we're doing. In this large bowl, I have some sour cream and a little bit of apple cider vinegar. I'm going to go ahead and add my 4 egg yolks into that mixture. And I'm just gonna go ahead and mix these up until they are uniform. To this liquid go my dry ingredients. This is egg white powder. I have my yeast in here, which is optional, but there for flavor. Of course, gelatin. And then I actually have a little bit of whey isolate. This is one of the new ingredients that is gonna help us with that chewy texture. So I've added whey isolate. I'm going to add this slowly as I mix to make sure we don't get any clumps. I also threw a large pinch of salt in there because I like some flavor in my bread. We have 3/4 of a cup of heavy cream that is cold. We're gonna whip this up to soft peaks. You do not want a firm whipped cream here. We want a soft whipped cream. So this is the texture we're looking for. It is whipped, but it is still soft. You can see we don't have those strong, hard peaks, and it does flow off the spoon. We're gonna go ahead and add the whipped cream on top of the egg mixture, and we're gonna gently fold these two together, and we're gonna try to maintain as much fluffiness as we can keep. And then we're just gonna mix this all together, and we are going to lose a lot of the fluffiness. That's okay. We're just gonna try our best to not totally deflate the whipped cream. So now that this is mixed up, we're gonna leave this sit here at room temperature. It's not about activating the yeast or anything like that. That's just in there as an optional flavor component. What's going to happen is the vinegar is actually going to interact with all of those other ingredients. The eggy flavor that you would normally get from things like egg yolks is going to dissipate as it sits. You're also going to let the cream and the vinegar and the sour cream all interact, and it's gonna create more of that aged, deeper, tangy flavor, which was what we'd expect from a sourdough bread. Hopefully that's going to be the result that we get from this. So we're gonna leave this sit for 30 minutes at least, but 45 is better for things like this. And then we're gonna come back, we're gonna whip up those egg whites, and I'll show you how we mix it all together, and we're gonna bake it, and we'll see what we get. Now that our fatty mixture has been sitting for about 45 minutes, we're gonna go ahead and whip the whites. I have 4 egg whites in the bowl, and I have some more egg white powder here, which is gonna go in. Now remember, any trace of fat, including a drop of egg yolk, a grease residue in your bowl, an additive in your egg white powder, any of these things may very potentially ruin the ability to whip your whites. So you need to make sure there's not even a tiny speck of yolk, there's no grease residue in your bowl, and there is no additive in that egg white powder or egg white protein powder as it may be labeled. It should be egg whites and nothing else. We're gonna whip this up to stiff peaks, and then I'm gonna show you how we fold it into the fatty mixture, and then we're gonna bake it, and we're gonna see if we end up with carnivore sourdough. True to souffle style fashion, we are now going to take our whipped egg whites, which are at stiff peaks. I'm going to add about 1/3 of them into the bowl with the fatty mixture. We're going to mix that fairly aggressively, and that's going to loosen the mixture, which will allow us to then mix the other 2/3 in gently and retain as much lift as possible. Now, this mixture has been sitting here, and of course, all of the powders, the gelatin, the egg white powder, the whey isolate, all of that has been hydrating. So this mixture is a little bit stiff, and that's okay. That's why we're gonna mix in this first part of the egg white, and then that will allow us to mix the second 2/3, retaining as much fluffiness as possible. So you mix this first third in pretty aggressively, and it will deflate, and that's totally fine. Then we're gonna add the second 2/3 of the egg white mixture. And then we're gonna take this mixture and we're gonna cut through the center, fold over the top, rotate the bowl, cut through the center, fold over the top, and we're gonna keep doing that just until the white streaks are gone. We do not want to over mix this or be too aggressive because we wanna keep it as fluffy as possible. My oven is preheated to 325 degrees. We're gonna bake this for probably about 45 minutes. I'll let you know if that changes. This is the bread mold that I'm using. It is a silicone bread mold, and it is not a standard size bread pan. And the reason for that is not because I just didn't make the recipe big enough to fit a regular bread pan, because the physics of this require the loaf be a little bit smaller. The bigger you make it, the more likely it is to collapse, and I have found this is the right size because this recipe generally for these types of breads does not collapse if you do it properly. So we're gonna put our mixture in our bread loaf pan, which has been greased with bacon grease. You could use tallow, butter, whatever you like, just a little bit of something to keep it from sticking. I'm just gonna smooth out the top a little bit. It's going to kind of level itself out as it bakes because the gelatin will all liquefy until the proteins in the eggs set. But give it a little bit of a helping hand and just carefully smooth out the top, but be careful, don't do all of that hard work to keep it fluffy, and then deflate it before you put it in the oven. This goes in a 325-degree oven. We'll check on it at about 45 minutes, and once it's done baking, I'm gonna crack the oven, turn the oven off, and let it rest in there just to make sure it doesn't collapse for 30 minutes. "45 minutes of baking time, 30 minutes resting time with the oven cracked and turned off. We're gonna dump this out and we're going to let it cool the rest of the way, and we'll slice it. Egg white bread is not for puppies. let's taste this sourdough experiment. I can tell with just the density and sort of the texture of this, I may want to make a couple of modifications. We'll do maybe a version 2 of this, but let's see what we've got. So we got one piece that's not toasted, so you can try it just plain with nothing else, and then we toasted and buttered the rest.
All right, awesome. Well, I'm gonna just dive on in. It reminds me of the days where you used to own a bakery. I did a lot of dishes back then too, huh?
Yes.
Not much has changed.
Yeah.
All right, that is super interesting. One, doesn't taste like eggs, just like your usual bread doesn't when you make your recipe. What I really like though about this is it's actually a little bit chewier. Also, there's totally that tang flavor.
Yeah.
I was really curious how you were going to get sourdough, you know, how it has that tangy aftertaste.
Yeah.
How you were going to do that with this. So, I mean, that's that. I mean, to me, it kind of looks just like normal bread. It doesn't look like a loaf of sourdough like what I would expect.
Yeah.
But if it's like that tangy thing that you miss, I think this would do the job.
We'll see how it toasts up with butter on it.
Okay. I can tell the edges got like nice and golden brown though. Looks really good. You put butter on it, which means it only gets better.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really good. That is delicious. So you've never made this before?
No, total experiment.
You're just a wild man?
I guess so.
I'm gonna say this was a pretty successful experiment.
I do think I can improve this, and I'm going to try. I will go ahead and give you guys a recipe card for this on my website. It's linked in the description box. I'm going to go ahead, though, and see if I can continue working on this and improve it, so stick around for that. Now, if you like this, you might want to see all of the pillars of how to make carnivore bread, so go watch this video right over here. This is Chris Cook in Nashville, the beautiful Ash Taylor. You guys eat your meat, maybe your carnivore sourdough bread. Love your life. We'll see you for another one real soon.
Do you know who I think loves this more than me? The dog. Big fan.
Yeah.